Greetings and welcome to this special presentation on what is going on. I think I need to do quite a bit of dot joining here to explain things. Now, first off today, what I've witnessed is an antenna being taken down from a church. Bear in mind that all the churches are shut. I would say there is clearly a link between the atmospheric energy collection and the demonic feeding, the preying on the prey of the collective energy of people who are praying. Now add to this, you've got the overlay of the 5G map with the map showing the countries that are being affected by this alleged coronavirus. Notice also that COVID-19 to me sounds more like some sort of military operation term. There is said to be 20,000 troops on exercises in the UK. I don't know if anybody has actually seen these happening or has seen any movements of troops or things. I personally cannot verify whether this is true. On the back of this virus, which people are idiotically lining up at chemist shops to willingly have this vaccine, you've got the Georgia Guidestones with the talk of reducing the population by over 90%. You also have the World Health Organization saying that they are going to vaccinate over 90% of the population against this corona. Now, is there a coincidence in this? Now it's what, 10 minutes away. Boris Johnson apparently is going on television and is going to address the nation at 8:30. Well, let's just think about this. 8:30 in 24-hour clock is 2030. That sounds rather like an agenda to me. There's also some other things worth mentioning in historical perspective to all this. These troop movements and bringing in what is basically martial law, it follows the same pattern of the Operation Pied Piper, where they moved children all over the place. Well, would you believe they actually evacuated children from London to the south coast town of Brighton, and then had to do a second evacuation because of course the south coast is closest to France with this Operation Pied Piper. Just look into the story behind that and what happens with children. There is nothing new with any of this. What also is going on with this lockdown, these giant corporations can work on very small percentages in terms of profit. The whole idea of putting out the scaremongering and the fear-mongering and causing the panic buying is perfect. You've got a wonderful way of turning over goods in a very short time as people start to panic buy. But what is affected most are the small independent businesses who cannot compete with this and are then frightened of opening because they're obviously going to get fined and lose the businesses. This is all part of this same agenda. You are facing George Orwell's 1984. Now we're seeing stories of having a clampdown on travellers and the Romany Gypsy way of life, which stinks to me of the stories we get from the Third Reich. There is nothing new about this. It is a case of like in the Chris Cornell song, forgetting the way back to my heart. Here we go round again. All this script is being repeat patterns with everything. You've got the crossover of migrations of orphan children and evacuees. You've got the moving of troops, so they're facing people that they're not local to, and so on and so on. This is being played out in plain sight right in front of everybody, and very few people are seeing this. But you've basically got martial law, and it will be following with mandatory vaccine and calls from governments to introduce these things through the fear they're spreading. You've also got the media being the medium of the dark side. I've seen posts on Facebook by The Guardian and the Times newspaper. It's funny how the mainstream media will accuse the social media of all being fake, and yet, funny enough, they've all got Facebook pages where they post things on. Well, they're saying that the UK is allowing flights to come in from Italy and China, which totally goes against the narrative they're telling us about all these lockdowns and border closures. So why are they allowing these flights? On the back of this, there is also stories coming out about the waters of Venice are clearing up, pollution is clearing up, so you can see where this is going on the environmental issue. Don't forget you've got the 5G rolling out. You've also got the driverless vehicles. So this will be brought into all under this umbrella Corona term. This is the Corona, the crowning glory of the evil side. They are really throwing everything at this because they have to. They have no other choice because they know their time is up. I don't want this to be fear porn and add to this dreadful situation that affects our collective energy, because we do manifest things through feeding into the fear. Remember that fear always feeds fear. We need laughter, we need love in all of this, and we are starting to see the best qualities in some people coming out, but unfortunately the 90% are being greedy, self-serving, the exploitation of this situation by selling things at exorbitant prices on eBay, for example. Shame on those people. That is disgusting. You're as bad as the evil itself. But I do have a feeling that is shared by many I speak to that the outcome of this is going to be a good one. A lot of this is all fear and illusion. Then we have a picture of somebody dropped down dead somewhere in the UK in the Metro newspaper, which is part of the Daily Mail. So don't give in to the fear, but do be aware of the bigger picture. Do keep a check on your local area. Look at what is happening with these church spires, as they tell us, and these weather vanes. They are collecting the atmospheric energy. But obviously with the churches closing, that loose energy is not coming in that way. And I can guarantee that they won't just take these antennae down. They'll be reused somewhere else. So you've got the vaccines, the 5G, the locking down and total destruction of any freedom, the destruction of small independent traders, all pushing towards corporate control. But then what happens when you do get the corporate control? Very easy step to take away any choice. You will only have one brand of supermarket. The prices are also rising as well, so keep that in mind with all of this. But don't give in to this fear. It is all an illusion because the dark side are scared. That is probably where the toilet rolls are going, because they are shitting themselves, because they know their time is up. Those of us that can see the bigger picture also know that their time is up, and it is an inner knowing. That's all you need to find. It is discernment. We all come in, I think, to this truth movement. Often the gateway is through David Icke, who is speaking out, and regardless of whether you think he's controlled opposition, same as Alex Jones, remember that it's not just politicians and things, doctors and people who are lecturers in universities, that they are compromised when they get to a certain point. The YouTube channels that hit the 40,000 subscribers will also most likely be compromised. It is right down to every level. I even saw a man, he had a very neatly trimmed moustache, very well spoken, selling the big issue. He is clearly a plant. His energy gave that away. You've also got the organisations in the UK called the Round Table, the British Legion, the Mothers Union. These are an extension of the education system where it's filtering out to find the ones they want in the club, the useful idiots, which they will use until they're no longer of usefulness, and then they are discarded. It follows exactly the same pattern as all the Dracula films. But just be aware of what is going on, use your discernment, and see the bigger picture to all of this. This is not intended to be fear porn. This is telling you how I see things, the way things are shaping up, and what is really going on with this agenda. So I'll leave that there with you. You make your own mind up. I don't care whether you think I'm crazy. What I do care about is the future and what is going to happen to all of us. Fear is an illusion, and don't forget that when we feed into this, where the attention goes, the energy flows. But we do have, at the same time, there's a duality of this. We have to balance with all these things and use our discernment and stay in high vibration throughout all of this. We also can have a situation where you are seen in your family as the crazy one, but even that is being revealed, and I happen to see a message that was not actually intended for me, but I know how that particular family member now thinks of me, and that's why I have blocked them, and I don't want anything more to do with them, because they are not lowering my vibration. If the world is 7.5 billion people alone, and add on to that all the other life on this planet, that is what I'm concerned about, and that is what I care about. So it's the majority over the individual with all this. I don't carry anybody. It is up to you to do your own research on this. Don't just, as I said on previous videos, don't just look at one source. Look at maybe 10 or 15. Make your own mind up on things. We live in the age of information technology. It is there for you to find. Don't just buy into, oh, I use hand sanitizer. It's on the labels, on the bottles. Look at the ingredients. If you don't know what they are, go on the internet, look at what those ingredients are, and you make your own mind up whether you want to use it or not. It's as simple as that. It is all down to you. Ignorance is a choice. Whether you make that choice or whether you choose to follow the path of finding the knowledge, listening to your inner feelings, listen to your gut feeling. That is your best guide with everything. As a cliche saying that a lot of channels say, and I've said it as well, don't believe anything I say, look into everything yourself. And I'm going to say ta-ta for now and leave that all there with you. Thank you very much.